See, if you want to be more successful in every conversation, then you need to understand there are only 3 ingredients that are important to have success in conversations to reach a point of influence. Only 3 ingredients. The first is one of curiosity. The second is empathy. And the third is courage. Now, those are not words you haven't heard before, right? You know those words. But why those 3 words, and why in that specific order? I'll try and show you. We're going to go slow. And I want to teach you something that's kind of big, so I hope that you can follow. Why do we start from a position of curiosity? Let's look at this together. Ever found yourself in a conversation with somebody where they're so certain of themselves, so sure of themselves, so much of an I know best mentality that the more certain they are of themselves, the less certain you are in them? True, right? See, ironically, certainty leads to uncertainty. The key to reach certainty is curiosity. Now, all of you in this room have huge amounts of content, huge amounts of wisdom, huge amounts of information. But note this, content before context is merely noise. And the world is already noisy enough right now. So if you want your content to stick, what it first needs is context. Because context gives you the ability of being able to get closer towards certainty. In my mind, what selling really is earning the right to make a recommendation. That's what selling is. What that means is you should never, ever, 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 ever deliver your advice to somebody unless you can say these words first. And the words I want you to be able to say first are the words, because of the fact that you said. Because of the fact that you said blank, blank, and blank, then for those reasons, what I'd recommend is blank, blank, and blank. See, because of the fact you said it's essential that you have at least 3 bedrooms, what I'd recommend we do is we just grow the search area a little, show you some stuff that you might be able to get that's bigger, bolder, and perhaps more fitting to your environment. Because of the fact that you said. See how much more powerful that is than what I think you should do is? Insanely more powerful. How do you get to a position of being able to say, because of the fact that you said? You stay curious for long enough to collect that evidence. Because it sounds easy to say, but if I don't have the said, I can't use it. This make sense? See, if you stay curious for long enough, what it does is it dances you towards this position of empathy. I choose the word dance on purpose. You just kind of find yourself there. Empathy is like a buzzword right now. Still too few people really know what it means. Best definition I ever heard for the word empathy comes from a speaker, author friend of mine by the name of John Acuff. John Acuff describes empathy as to care about what the people you care about care about. I can't do better than that. Care about what the people you care about care about. See, how often do you show up in your conversations with customers not caring about what the people you're supposed to care about care about? Let me give you one tiny example. Who's ever started a phone call with the words, "I was just checking in"? Kill myself. Stop it. Who's the benefactor of that call? You are. I was hoping, I was looking. Me, my, we. I mean, the overuse of the word we in the bulk of your language means that you literally we all over your prospects. Most of them won't like it. Most. Why is it so important that we get towards this position of empathy? Is it makes you relatable. There's a button that exists inside the head of every decision maker on the planet. Every decision maker. And every decision maker on the planet is looking for you to hit what I call the show me that you know me button. The second you trigger the show me that you know me button, this is no longer you versus them. See, if it's you versus them, that means there's a winner and a loser, which means if you're the winner, ever found yourself in a negotiation with a client, you're like, I won that, and then it didn't turn out too good. See, what we're not looking to be able to do is to win the sale. What we're looking to be able to do is to be side by side, and it's not me versus them, it's me and them versus it. Me and them versus it is different than me versus them. How do you get that? You get to a position of being side by side. Answer this to yourselves for a second. Do any of you have people in your life that could drop you the simplest of asks via a text message, via an email, and when they ask you to do something, you're like, yeah, sure, no worries. Straight up yes, no further questions. And then you have other people in your life that could ask you to do the exact same thing, and when they ask you, me? This weekend? Right, you got a million reasons why you can't. What is the difference? See, the difference is that person has been curious for long enough to be able to understand your circumstances. They know you, they know your world. They reached a position of empathy. They're only asking you to do something that they think is compatible to you, that they have your best interest in mind. This is something we feel that is us versus the world, not me versus you. See, many of you in this room would like to be a trusted advisor towards your clients, correct? Please realize that is not something you can call yourself. That is not something you can call yourself. That is something somebody else gets the privilege of calling you. How do you get to that position of being a trusted advisor? Stay curious for long enough so you understand their context. Reach a position of empathy so you can see the world through their eyes. So it's you and them versus it, not you versus them. That, my friends, is how you win trust. That and that alone. And that gets us towards this final piece, this courage piece. See, I'm not talking about like climb a mountain courage, go to war courage, jump out of an aeroplane courage. I'm talking about a different kind of courage. I'm talking about the courage to just ask. Why? Because when you ask for things, you drive action. When you ask for things, stuff happens. But if you don't ask, you don't get. We know that to be true. See, if you ask too early for the thing you want in life, you are pushy, you're obnoxious, you're rude, you're self-centered. You're all the things you said you didn't want to be. But guess what? If you're curious for long enough to reach a position of empathy and then you make the bold ask, doesn't it just feel like the next natural step? I want to just maybe check in on something here. Is who in this room has asked somebody to marry them? You know, when you made the ask, how certain were you were going to get the answer you were looking for? This guy's bold. We're 80% punter out here. See, most people I talk to here, they're not like 60-40 chance in it, right? They're not even 75-25. You're like 99.63429 recurring, pretty sure that this is what both of us want, right? It's the path we're both thinking about going down. That's the level of certainty I'd like you to get to before you invite your customers to take action. That level of certainty. See, success in selling is not about embellishing the option of yes. It's about destroying the option of no. It's about destroying the option of no. That, my friends, is the operating system. That is the operating system of everything that goes through my world and exactly what to say. That is what we believe to be true as the missing ingredient as to why most conversations don't go the way you wanted them to. Because you didn't start curious, you didn't reach empathy, and you didn't have the courage to ask. You do that 3-step dance on repeat in all of your critical conversations, your life will change. Start with your spouse, start with your kids, start with other people in your communities. You can use that framework anywhere, but I promise you that one of the biggest reasons you're failing to get the results you're looking for in your conversations, you don't start curious. You start certain. Create friction, start fights. Fights end up with losers, which means if you're the winner, they're the loser, people don't like you. That simple and that hard.